Welcome to the SOB radio show, where we have fun, interesting guests, and hot topics. Each week, we offer insights into music, fashion, health, fitness, and humor. Do you have the perfect guest for us to interview? I want to know. Drop me a line on our Facebook page at SpunkyOldBroad1 or reach out to me on our website at spunkyoldbroad.com. And now, back to the show. Hi, everybody. I'm back with Rhonda Sher, and she has just finished telling us about her personal life, and now we're going to talk about her business life. So let's find out. You said you created a six-figure business. How did you do it?
Well, what happened was I created it for myself using LinkedIn to generate my life insurance business. And then I realized that was not my passion at all. My passion was helping other people to grow their businesses, specifically consultants, speakers, authors, business owners. And just like with networking, I literally had a system that could be duplicated. So how I created that six-figure business was I did it for myself. And then I said, well, if I can do it, I can just teach other people to do it. And it was three simple steps. Number one, presentation. How do you show up on LinkedIn? Most people are super experts, but they're in witness protection. Nobody can find them. The second part is prospecting. How do you go out and find those ideal clients and not do it in a salesy, sleazy way? And then how do you convert that to the next step to where it shows up in your bank account as profit? So it's present, prospect, profit. That was a system that I created. And it's been working for me and for thousands and thousands of people that I've shared it with.
It's amazing. So you're passionate about LinkedIn as a tool for entrepreneurs and business owners, but you are doing this and making a great living at it. And yet, have you run into any kinks along the way? Are there clients and customers that you help who don't see it as being helped or flake out or say, I can't do this?
Well, that's a really good question. For the people that don't get results, it's because they don't implement. So if you think about how many gyms I've joined over the years and never shown up, and then am I going to blame the gym because I didn't lose weight or I didn't get firm? If you follow the system, it absolutely works because it's put in a way that if you do a certain step, you're going to get a certain result. And that's why it works. The people that I do not work with are job hunters. That's an entirely different way to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn's great for it. It's just not my lane. But for those people that are willing to do the work, in other words, if you think about the gym, they're willing to show up, they're willing to follow what the trainer says, they're willing to go to the classes, you get the results. And for my clients, the results are typically being able to book 2 to 10 appointments a week with their ideal prospect, client, or referral partner. If they can get them on the phone and they know how to close them, they can add an additional $5,000 to $50,000 every single month potentially.
That's amazing. So what are some of the other resources you recommend for getting through challenging times that you never planned on? I mean, we're certainly going through it now, but what are some of the other resources that you suggest?
Well, I think part of what you want to have as a resource is, number one, you need to know a little bit about technology. I know that sounds kind of funny, but, learn Zoom, because Zoom is where you can have those face-to-face meetings now, where before, you'd go out and meet somebody at Starbucks or at a coffee shop. The other thing is have a team of people that you can refer to. So for me, for example, where I don't work with job hunters, I have somebody that's amazing that I refer to. You want to have a toolbox of people and resources that you can refer to people because you're not going to be the go be all end all for everybody. The other resource that I would say is, know exactly who it is and who you are, what you offer, and how to present it. So what are the tools that you need? And if you don't know what they are, know who to ask to get you on that road. Don't be afraid to say, listen, I need your help. What's the worst somebody can say? No. right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Technology-wise, I am very bad at that, but I can tell you, I mean, I do what I have to do. I've learned what I had to learn, but now I have a really great tech guy and a back end guy, so it makes a big difference. I mean, things that would take me 2 weeks to figure out, he does in about 2 seconds. But the interesting thing is that I have been busier since everything has been canceled than before, because all of my conferences that I was going to go to are now virtual. So, for example, last week I was in a virtual conference for 3 days, but they did it like they had one class from, let's say, 1 to 2 in the afternoon and then another class from 7 to 8 at night. But the one I was just in that finished last night went from, because it was Pacific time and I'm on Eastern time, it went from 12 noon till 10:30 at night. So I was really wiped out every night. And I did that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, but I did it because it was very well run. I learned an awful lot and it was very interesting. So, plus all of my other meetings that I normally go to in town have all been Zoom meetings. Plus I have been doing Zoom coaching. Plus I have been, I'm usually a guest on a summit a couple times a week, so that's been on Zoom. So I am zoomed out. I mean, I have been busier than and at the computer just about every minute of every day. So it's interesting how things have changed. And of course, my viewpoint is it's never going back to what it was. It will go back, but not to what it was. Between AI and robotics and people realizing, hey, we can do this from home and we can do teams from home. And yeah, we might need to get together once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's going to make a big difference. And it's going to make a big difference in real estate. People are not going to have the office space they needed. I mean, there's going to be so many changes. But what are some of the success stories that you can share about people that you've helped as a LinkedIn expert?
So one of the people that I helped is a woman named Nicole, who's an event planner. And she had previously been doing a lot of events in the pharmaceutical world and in the business world, but her LinkedIn profile and her website did not reflect that. So she was told about a particular opportunity that was worth about 30K as an event planner for this pharmaceutical company. And the person who let her know about this particular opening that they were looking said they're going to rely very, very heavily on LinkedIn. Now, her profile was, again, like one of the people many of the people I work with. She was in witness protection. She was a superstar, but didn't show up that way. So I helped her with a done for you. I upgraded her profile so that she became the only logical choice the way that she was positioned. And again, she was being interviewed with a number of other people, but having the advantage of a LinkedIn profile that made her bulletproof, she got that $30,000 gig. That was pretty amazing. Another client of mine is a ghostwriter. Now, there's a lot of ghostwriters out there, but what made him different is he had a complete done-for-you program. So not only did he ghostwrite your book, he then got you to #1 on the bestseller list, then created your funnels so that you could get on the stages and do all of that. It really differentiated him. And he wrote me a testimonial and said, in the first month, it's actually a video testimonial, he made $30,000. And for the first time, he couldn't remember how long, he has a waiting list of clients. So those are just two of the many, many that I've had that have had unbelievable success using, what I call the Sher method to unleash LinkedIn.
I'll tell you, Rhonda, it is really amazing that you've been able to create all of this. And I had the pleasure of meeting Rhonda at an event we were both at. And she is an imposing presence. As she said, she's 5'11", but she's also gorgeous. So when she walks into a room, you know that she's there. And I think the fact that you have found love again with your first husband, that you've created this wonderful business, that your kids are back, hey, we love you kind of thing. I mean, that's really amazing. And I think it's really a testimonial to yourself, because you did a lot of work on you and you had to do a lot of changing and you had to do a lot of developing. So what do you say to women who are listening to this, who are over 50 and say, my life is over, I'm not appealing. I'm invisible. Nobody pays attention to me. Um, Nobody wants to hire me. I'm at a loss. What do you say to somebody like that?
What I would say is number one, whatever your perception of yourself is your reality in the outside world. And I remember when I was sitting with a divorce mediator, and he said to me, Rhonda, when do you see yourself getting remarried? And I said, Rich, I would say it would be 6 or 7 years. Now, I never thought it was going to be to the guy that I was divorcing, right?
Right.
But the attitude is whatever you put out there, whatever your energy is, that's what you're going to get. So I would recommend my advice would be go find somebody that can guide you. Every coach needs a coach. I invest about 20% of everything I earn in coaches. Go find a business coach, a life coach, somebody that can guide you so that you can see what's on the other end, so that you're moving towards something and not away from. Because if you don't, what happens is you drag your past into your present. So learn from the lessons. However, whatever it is that you believe, that's what you're going to get. Because you know the old expression, whatever you focus on, you get more of.
That's true.
I knew, and I don't know how I knew this, but I knew I was going to come out on the other side. If you have a knowing, and it takes work, it takes having a morning routine. I learned how to meditate. That saved my life. Meditation was that inner self reflection. I learned how to journal. I started exercising. Practicing really good self help makes a big difference in just being resigned. I've always believed that if everybody walked into a room, took their garbage, put it in a little brown bag, put it in the middle of the room, and then they said, okay, go take a bag. Everybody would take their own bag because they know it. It's familiar. What if you could make a conscious choice to say, this is what I want, and then you move towards getting it? It'll be in baby steps. However, if you have something to move towards and you're not afraid to say these 4 words, I need your help, then you will get to the other side. And it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it does. I mean, people don't like to ask for help. And first of all, they don't want to admit that there's something wrong. So that's number one. And then, of course, asking for help, you've got to go to the right person. And like you, I invest too much money in outside help, to learn certain things and discover certain things. And some of it has been paid off in terms of benefits, and others have I said, why did I spend that money? But that's called learning. You got to do things to figure out what works. So are there any other big mistakes that you've seen people make other than the ones you've mentioned in using LinkedIn as a tool to grow their business?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is number one, they don't make their profile branded consistently with how they show up everywhere else. So when you have a website, if you're on Facebook, wherever it is, you want your branding to be consistent. Because interestingly enough, 90% of the people that are on LinkedIn are on Facebook. The other thing is most people don't pay enough attention to their profile to realize that they're not showing up in a way that answers their prospects' questions, which is, what do you do? Who do you do it for? What kind of results do you get? What third-party proof? And then tell me a little bit about yourself so that they can relate to you. And finally, one of the biggest mistakes that I find is there's no contact information. They have a website that has a dead link. They don't have an email. They don't have a calendar program that says book an appointment with me. They don't have a phone number. So with all of those things, why would you go through the trouble of being on LinkedIn if somebody can't even reach you?
Well, those are the same problems I have in booking guests, Rhonda. You do not know how many people have been in touch. They want to be on the shows, and then I don't have a phone number for them. I don't have a website. I go to Google, try to look them up, and they may be on LinkedIn or they may be on Facebook, but I don't want to contact them that way. I want to talk to them. I want a direct number. And it's one thing if you're, hunting for a regular job, but if you want to be on air, and many media people
broadcast the same day they're looking for someone in a particular genre, and you can't get a hold of anybody. It's just they say next and they go on to the next person. So I always say to people who say they want to be booked, I want a phone number and I want a website. And boy, you'd be amazed the people who don't have them. So interestingly, isn't it the same thing? We can't get in touch with the people we would like to do business with.
Absolutely.
So, and then you brought up another point, which I wonder what the inconsistency is of the people being on LinkedIn, on Facebook. What is the difference? I don't understand the inconsistency as to how they show up.
Well, if you think about Facebook, people are posting on Facebook things that, their political opinions, what they had for lunch, they're selling things. It's also not as organized. When you go to LinkedIn, it's very easy to see where somebody went to school. It's very easy to see what their job history looks like, what their offerings are. So it's in a much more organized way. And the recommendations, what somebody else says about you, you can actually see the date that they wrote it, what they said. And here's the part that I really like. You can then click over and look at the profile of the person that wrote something about you, which is pretty important. With Facebook, you can't do it in that orderly way. Facebook is a great medium. It's an amazing platform. However, it's not the business platform that LinkedIn is. There's over 500 million users on LinkedIn, with a new person joining two new people joining every second.
Wow. Well, I'm not a great Facebook or LinkedIn user. However, I did form a Facebook group. I have a Facebook group for SOBs, and so it's called Visual. Of course, it's facebook.com/group/visual SOB, or virtual, I should say, virtual SOB club. And so people can go there and join, and it's a whole community of women, for 50 plus women, where they can, talk to each other, talk to me. I reply all the time. I'm on there a couple times a day, and it's probably the most I've ever used Facebook in my life. But when you look at my Facebook pages, and I have two different ones, I don't even post there that much because I am not interested in what people have for lunch. And I really, in fact, some of the people who post very religious sayings on there, I don't appreciate that either. I appreciate their point of view, but not necessarily do I want to have that on my site. And the political views as well. There's a friend of mine who is very politically opposite from me, and I have her as a friend, and I do follow her, but I don't comment on anything because I know that I would not say the things she would like to hear. So it's interesting that you say that, and people need to pay attention to that, and also to the fact that whatever you put anywhere online can come back to haunt you. So you need to be aware of that as well. I think that's a big part of it. So
it is. In fact, people don't get jobs because of what they've posted on Facebook. There have been people that have had offers reneged because somebody took a look at their Facebook and said, "Oh my gosh, this is not somebody we want to have on here at our place of employment."
So how long did it take you to build your business after your divorce? Did you say 6 months, or was it longer than that?
Well, I got my business to six figures within 1 year using LinkedIn. And I literally had a system that I put into place to get it to that level. It has continued to grow ever since. What I love about LinkedIn is you have an unlimited opportunity to connect with people. And, we talked a little bit just a minute ago about posting on Facebook. But posting on LinkedIn is a phenomenal way to create a tribe. So I post every single day. I do three things. I post something original, and usually 80% of the time what I'm posting is just something that's going to make you smile. Maybe it's a positive quote from somebody. I posted something from Mark Cuban. This was about a month ago. I had 11,000 views. I had almost 400 likes and 20 reshares. That was just a positive quote from Mark Cuban. So that's really off the charts. And Then the other 20% that I post is things that people can use with LinkedIn. It's related to the lane that I stay in. So when you're posting consistently, you're creating a tribe. And as a result of that, I ended up getting nominated to be one of the top 50 trainers on LinkedIn. And I had no idea how that happened, but there's a report that comes out every month. And one of the people that I work with, he's in Australia. And he called me one day, we get on Zoom every 2 weeks, and he said, hey, listen, can you do me a favor? Can you nominate me as one of the top LinkedIn people on this report? I said, sure. So I nominated him, and unbeknownst to me, I ended up becoming number 35. And, and so, when you're out there and you're consistently just giving value, it comes back in ways that you could never expect.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We have like 5 minutes left, Rhonda. Tell us how people can reach you. Number one, I know you have some kind of free gift for them. Just tell us about some of the ways that you're available to people.
So they can go to rhondasher.com. It's just RHONDASHER.com. There's a LinkedIn planner that you can get for free. They can connect with me on LinkedIn, which is linkedin.com/IN/my name, Rhonda L. Sher. And if they're interested in actually getting on a call with me for 30 minutes to look at their LinkedIn profile, to see how they might be able to upgrade or optimize and just have a conversation, they can send an email to me. And the email is really simple. It's unlockinglinkedin@gmail.com. Very easy.
I may decide to do that myself, Rhonda. So we'll see what happens. I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn, but they are people who have asked to connect with me. I have not asked to connect with anybody. So they're finding me. I don't know how much good that's doing me, but now's the time to get all of that stuff done because we're sitting at home, taking care of ourselves.
Well, you were just so much fun, Gail. I mean, you're a force of nature. You walk into a room and you may not be 5'11", but you are a powerhouse and just so positive and so much fun that people want to be around you. And you're an amazing resource as well.
Well, thank you. It's like you and I are Mutt and Jeff. I'm like 5'1.5", and I'm the tall one. My sister's down to 4'11". So it's interesting. My kids are not that short, but I am. And so it's so funny when you're with somebody who is your size, 5'11". I think, wow, you can. I had an assistant who worked for me in my other company for over 20 years. Maybe she was with me even 30 years. I don't know. Anyway, she was 6'2". And whenever I could never find anything, I'd say, where is it? And she'd say, look up, look up. But I could never reach it. And if you go into my apartment, nothing is on the top shelf because I can't reach it. So it's so funny that you say that. So anyway, those of you who are interested, and I think you should all be interested in what Rhonda has to offer. Remember, it is Rhonda, RHONDA, and her last name is Sher, SHUR.
ER.
I'm sorry, ER. So it's rhondasher.com, and she is on LinkedIn. And that's something else. On LinkedIn, you've got the / and then in. Does everybody have to put that in when they search for themselves?
No, they don't. It's just a direct URL. So if you it's on every piece of email and everything that I put out, because I want it to just to be one click away so they don't have to search. So if you put linkedin.com /IN / and then you create the URL. So I've just used my name, Rhonda L. Sher. What LinkedIn will give you, LinkedIn will default to a bunch of letters and numbers. So you can create your own URL, which just makes it one click away.
Yeah, because I have tried to get into LinkedIn, you're just using linkedin.com / Gail Carson, and I don't come up. And yet people have found me, 3,000 some people have found me. So it's interesting that, so I'm going to try that LinkedIn.
I'll help you with that. I'll help you set it up. No problem.
Okay, I'll be in touch with you. Well, we've got 2 minutes left, Rhonda. What else would you like people to know?
I think what I'd like to tell people is that I have a practice that I teach, it's called 10 before 10. Reach out to 10 people before 10 a.m. every day. And all you want to do when you reach out is say, hey, Gail, we've connected on LinkedIn, but we've never really had a conversation. I'm just reaching out to learn how are you doing during all of this stuff that's going on. Reach out to people to be interested in them. If you do 10 people every single day, it would be almost impossible for your business not to grow if you're coming from a place of service, of just wanting to get to know people. That's what I do, and that's what I teach, 10 before 10. And they can be people that are already in your network or people that you don't know, but you want to get to know better. What can you offer them? How can you be of service? Is there something you can share? That's what I would leave you with. Just come from the mindset of how can I serve?
Well, you've heard it here, folks. That was Rhonda Sher, and she has a lot to offer for LinkedIn people. So be sure to be in touch and get her free planner. Thanks so much for being with us, Rhonda. It was an absolute delight.
Well, thanks, Gail. I'm glad I'm old enough to be an SOB.
Hi, this is Dr. Gail, and I wanted you to know I have a whole bunch of other things to offer you. If you go to spunkyoldbroad.com, you will see an array of SOB stuff for sale and all our latest products and additions. If you're interested in getting on TV, I have a brand new course, Get on TV. And if you want to start your own business, you'll want my SOB Guide to Business Success. I know you'll love them all. I guarantee it.